Morning all from myself and the cats, who probably want my attention this morning. And not right now usually means, right now then. So, we have 3 games tonight, 1 starting early and 2 starting later. The one that starts early, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. It's Boston at home against Montreal. Now, if you're a longtime subscriber to this channel, you know that Boston and Montreal is a bad matchup for Boston. That is usually true. And I mean usually as in throughout their histories, Montreal has kind of had some ownership over Boston. That being said, this year is not one of those years. Last year wasn't one of those years either. If Boston consistently beats Montreal for about the next 50 years, it might change that narrative a little bit. Now, Montreal's 27, 24, and 7 overall. They're 7 and 3 in their last 10. On the road, they're 14, 9, and 3. So Montreal's numbers, not fantastic overall, but they're good on the road, and in their last 10, they've been good. So, on the Boston front, they're 34, 11, and 12. They're 7 and 3 in their last 10. Their most recent game being an embarrassing loss against the Detroit Red Wings that there is no excuse for. They're 19, 2, and 9 at home. The 9 is kind of troublesome, but overall at home, they're pretty darn good. They've only lost 2 in regulation, all that wonderful stuff. And 19 wins at home is an excellent record. But with Montreal and Boston both coming off of disappointing losses, look for a pretty competitive game right out of the gate tonight. November 5th, these teams met in Montreal. Montreal won that game by a score of 5-4. They met in Montreal again on November 26th. Boston won that one 8-1. That was the most embarrassing game of the season, I would think, for the Montreal Canadiens. On December 1st, Boston wins at home 3-1 over Montreal. And so tonight ends their season series with Boston looking to win 3 out of 4 and Montreal looking to even up the series. And in terms of who needs it more, well, Toronto fans might be cheering for Boston tonight. We'll get into that when we talk about standings. Now, for today's stats, what I did was I went with career scoring with each team. So among players that are currently on the roster, whether they're active or they're not, who are the top 5 scorers for each team throughout their time there. Gallagher's the leader for the Montreal Canadiens, 170 goals, 158 assists, 328 points. Jeff Petrie is number 2 with 49 goals, 125 assists, 174 points. Philippe Danault, 48 goals, 115 assists, 163 points. Byron, 69 goals, 62 assists, 131 points. And Shea Weber, who of course is injured, 50 goals, 75 assists, 125 points. Of course, Byron's been injured. Danault took that puck in the jaw. And Gallagher recently came back from an injury as well. In net, Carey Price has a career record of 345 wins, 244 losses, and 72 overtime or shootout losses. And Charlie Lindgren, who's the backup, he has a record of 9-11-2 in his career. Now, on the Boston side of things, Bergeron's the leading scorer for them. 344 goals, 516 assists, 860 points in his career with Boston. Krejci, 207 goals, 475 assists, 682 points. Marchand, 285 goals, 343 assists, 628 points for him. Chara, in his career with Boston, 148 goals, I should say, 332 assists, 480 points. And Pastrnak, 170 goals, 192 assists, 362 points. So for Boston, their number 5 scorer has more points in his career in Boston than the number 1 scorer in Montreal has in his career in Montreal. Shows the longevity a lot of players in Boston have, and why, yes, Boston has likely got to win one either this year or next year, or they're going to have to go through some sort of retool, just because these guys are all getting older. Rask, in net, 285 wins, 155 losses, 64 overtime or shootout losses. And Halak, in his time in Boston, has a record of 36, 17, and 10 overall. So, should be an interesting matchup tonight. Let's see who wins. At 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, the LA Kings will be at home against Calgary. The Flames, 29, 22, and 6 overall. Their last 10, they're 4, 5, and 1. On the road, they're 16, 12, and 2. The LA Kings, 19, 33, and 5. Over their last 10, they're 1, 8, and 1. At home, they're 11, 12, and 1. So LA's record has been suffering. October 8th, LA wins in Calgary in overtime, 4-3. October 19th, LA wins at home, 4-1. And December 7th, the Calgary Flames win that one, 4-3. So the question becomes, what's going to happen between Tkachuk and Doughty? Because that's what happens all of these games. Pretty soon it's going to be Tkachuk and insert name of player from all 30 other teams, soon to be 31 here. Scoring leaders, again, this is career. Giordano, 134 goals, 345 assists, 479 points. They do miss him a lot. Johnny Gaudreau, 147 goals, 285 assists, 432 points. Sean Monahan, 189 goals, 214 assists for 403 points. Michael Backlund, 136 goals, 212 assists, 348 points. And TJ Brody, 45 goals, 216 assists, 261 points. In net, Riddick has a career record of 57, 29, and 13. And Cam Talbot, his time in Calgary, he is 7, 8, and 1. On the LA side of things, Kopitar, 329 goals, 606 assists for 935 points in his career. He should hit 1,000 next season. Dustin Brown, 292 goals, 350 assists, 642 points for him in his career. Doughty, 116 goals, 379 assists, 495 points. Can he hit 500 tonight? Not particularly likely. Carter, 185 goals, 177 assists, 362 points. Again, just in his career with LA. And Tyler Toffoli, who may not be a king for much longer, 135 goals, 151 assists, 286 points. In net, Jonathan Quick, 320 wins, 240 losses, 66 overtime or shootout losses. And Cal Peterson, 5-5-1 in his brief career as a king, but they're already talking about, so when's he going to be the starter? When's he taking over? And the answer is soon. I would think soon. That being said, Jonathan Quick let it be known in their last game, he's not giving up the net that easily. So the last game of the night starts it's reported between 7:30, depending on where you look. The start time may show as 7 o'clock. I would imagine on your ticket it'll say 7 o'clock if you're going to this game, because they want you to be there for the number of retirements of Daniel and Henrik Sedin. It is the Sedin night, and it's against Chicago, and I can't think that that's an accident. It is definitely on purpose. Some of their greatest and toughest moments were against the Blackhawks and against guys like Keith, Kane, and Taves. Now, the Hawks committed tonight, and they can't get distracted by any of the Sedin stuff because they're in a dogfight for a playoff spot. They're in tough right now. They are 6 points back after last night's action, and where a couple weeks ago you might be able to look at it and go, well, they should be able to go on a bit of a run. They now find themselves having to jump past 4 teams to get into the playoffs. That's where things get difficult. Chicago's 25-23-8. Over their last 10, they're 5-3-2. On the road, they're 13-11-4. Vancouver's 31-21-5. Over their last 10, they're 6-3-1. And at home, they're 18-6-3. So tonight, they're looking to make that 19 for Sedins. November 7th, Chicago won this matchup 5-2 at home. And January 2nd, Vancouver won this matchup 7-5 at home. And it was not a pretty game for Leonard. So Crawford's starting tonight. And it wasn't a pretty game for the Canucks. They win it, but not an overly fantastical game. If you're looking for playoff hockey, it wasn't in that one. Patrick Kane, in his career with Chicago, 381 goals, 626 assists, 1,007 points. Taves, 342 goals, 459 assists for 801 points. Duncan Keith, keep an eye on him. He has 99 goals, 499 assists, 598 points. If he gets a goal and an assist, that ticks off every box there for his milestones for the year. Seabrook, who of course is out for the year, 103 goals, 361 assists, 464 points. And Brandon Saad, 110 goals, 125 assists, 335 points. Then you look at the Vancouver side, and most of them, it's younger players and guys who haven't put up point totals anywhere near the guys on the Chicago side of things. Edler, 98 goals, 293 assists, 391 points. So he's pretty close to 400 points, 300 assists, and 100 goals. Bo Horvat, 115 goals, 152 assists, 267 points for him. Brock Besser, of course, is not playing tonight. 75 goals, 86 assists, 161 points. Pettersson's already fourth on their current list in terms of points. 51 goals, 72 assists, 123 points. And Chris Tanev, 22 goals, 95 assists, 117 points. And I don't think Tanev's going anywhere. I think he's staying as a Canuck for a while. Markstrom has 97 wins as a Canuck, 93 losses, 26 overtime losses or shootout losses. Demko's 15-8-3. In his young career, that we'll see past this season what the Canucks do and if he's still a Canuck or if Markstrom's still a Canuck beyond this season. So there you go. That's your 3 matchups for tonight. If we look at playoff implications, Montreal finds themselves 8 points out of a wild card, 7 points behind third in the division. The numbers are kind of sketchy for them, of course. Boston is 1 point ahead of Tampa. So if they lose and Tampa wins, our matchup then becomes Boston-Toronto in the first round again. For the Flames, they have 64 points. They're currently third in the division. With a win, they can get tied with Edmonton and get 2 points cleared of Vegas and Arizona. So there's 3 points separating these 5 teams in the West, and they're all Pacific. For Chicago, as I said, they're 6 points out. And for Vancouver, they are 1 point now ahead of the Oilers, 3 points ahead of the Flames. A win tonight guarantees they stay at least 3 points ahead of the Flames. So let me know your thoughts, your picks, and all that in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.